Hi everyone, it's Anne Stokes and I am here today with Mark Rapson from Nightfall Games, and we are going to have a little chat about the new Lillithea game that is being launched today. So Mark, would you like to tell us a little bit about what this QuickStart Lillithea project is?
Yes, for sure. So hi everyone, I'm Mark Rapson. I am the Managing Director of Nightfall Games, and we approached Anne about eight months ago, I guess, and proposed that we make her art into a role-playing game, which is quite unbelievable. It's never been asked of before, because obviously Anne's art is very fanciful and very appropriate for role-playing game artwork. And yeah, we're very excited about making it into a game, and we've done lots of planning and lots of work with Anne and offline as well, and we now have a quick start, which for those of you who don't know, is a way of introducing people to the role-playing game that we've created. And maybe if I step back even just one more step before that, what is a role-playing game? So many of you will have heard of Dungeons and Dragons, you might have seen the movie, etc. That is a role-playing game, and our company Nightfall Games makes a number of these already, but we wanted to make Lillithea, which was set in the Dungeons and Dragons world and using the rule set, which is known as 5e, the Dungeons and Dragons rules as well. So that was the start point. It all came about because I was talking with my family, especially my 12-year-old at the time daughter, about role-playing games. She likes playing them, but she found that she felt they were a little bit more directed at boys than her, and she's a big fan of Anne Stokes and her art, and therefore I decided to sort of reach out to Anne and her team and ask them about whether we could look at doing this, and it's just been a joy from that point forward.
Yeah, well, it was very exciting when we first started talking about this project, and I spent many years doing illustrations for role-playing games before I moved into licensed art, so it's very exciting. So we came up with, Mark, you came up with a document of like an initial proposal about the world and some of the characters. And then
Yes.
we worked on some concept art for this, which includes the cover image here.
That's right, yes. And what's a joy again here, what makes Lillithea different to most other role-playing games, and especially to Dungeons and Dragons, is you get to play the creatures, the familiars and the creatures that would be summoned to the Dungeons and Dragons world. So Lillithea is where they come from. So for example, you can see on this image here that you have an owl, a unicorn, a dragon and a wolf, as well as the humanoids. But the reason that those other four are on there is because they are playable characters. So this is going to make things very different and very interesting for a lot of people that like role-playing games but want to be more involved in thinking about the mystical animals and the animals as well generally. And unlike Dungeons and Dragons is now a playable race, and something that we expect a lot of people will have a lot of fun playing alongside all of these other ones as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just thought that was, first of all, really great concept, and it also ties in a lot of my paintings have people and their companion fantasy creature. So that was a very good idea that you came up with there. And so the first one we did was this cover image. I mean, there's a lot of my existing art used in the books, but I also painted things specially. And I sent Mark a very rough sketch, which you were very good about jumping off a cliff on this one, I think. I knew what I meant, but anyway, you just said, yeah, fine, great. So I kind of went for a bit of a kind of comic book action hero. We're all ready to jump in the fight pose here, and some quite nice bright colors I thought would be eye-catching with art.
Definitely. And what we've been very lucky, because when we first approached you for this, we sort of only hoped for the use of your art that you'd already created for other things. So when you started creating new art specifically for this project, it was A, very exciting, but also B, it meant that we could do so much more with what we were telling, because we can then say to you, like, Anne, we've got this great idea of playing these 4 or 5 different characters together. And rather than just have disparate pieces of artwork that represent them, we now have, like this front cover, a really good representation of the game itself. But this art also perfectly fits with the stuff you've already created. And in a minute, I'll show you through this quick start to show people what we've done with your art, with your help, and also what you've created additionally for this. And it's just so exciting to sort of like see your art be expanded into this whole new realm of opportunities. And I think you were saying to me before that you found this quite invigorating with regards to creating new art as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have specific subjects. Often with my licensed art, really part of it is me thinking, now what am I going to paint? And so that's part of it. But this, of course, then these illustrations are matching your text anyway. Well, we're going to have a little flick through this now. This quick start, as Mark said, this is launched today, and this is a free downloadable PDF document. Yeah, which is this correct, Mark? Sorry, and this is what people can download as a little taster of what's to come.
That's right. And also, we're going to have paper versions of this book also available at UK Games Expo, which is coming up this weekend. So it starts on Friday. And obviously, if people want to and they happen to be there, they'll be able to pick up a copy. And I believe you're hoping to come on Saturday as well. So that means
on Saturday, absolutely. I will be on your stand, Nightfall Games stand, from 12 until 2. Will be very exciting.
So and obviously those that are able to might be able to get a signed copy there from you as well.
I'm very happy to sign anything there. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, shall I show you some of the internal pages and then we can just talk through them? And brilliant. So obviously this coat of arms, for example, is brand new. You created that specifically for this, and you mentioned to me what the Latin meant as well.
It means remember your roots, which is like a phrase that would take time with, that the ancestors should be honored. But also, as we're going to see in a minute, a big part of Lillithea is the kings of oak and holly.
Yes.
And, the motif there, and also there's a little bit of a play on words there then with the roots of the tree. So
definitely.
That will obviously be explained extensively in the rules. PDF, I think, probably to find out all the details, but
that's it. And just to say to people listening, role-playing games often have what we call a meta plot or a background story arc, and that's what this King of Holly and Oak is all about as well, and all the background of how Lillithea came to be. So that's what you'll get in the first few pages. There's a map of Lillithea which shows you the entirety of the space that you're playing in this realm within the 5e setting. And obviously this is something you'd previously created, Anne, and done some tweaks and such like.
Yeah. So yeah, this was created a few years ago when I did this series of artworks about the different realms of fantasy, and so it was great that you could utilize this map. It's line art by John Woodward. He does a very good line art.
He does indeed, and we'll see more of his stuff later on in this book as well. So yeah, that's great. And there we go. You mentioned the kings. Here they are in all their glory.
Absolutely. So this is an example of this is using artwork that I had painted previously. You might have, if you're familiar with my art, recognize the Oak King and the Holly King there. And as I say, that goes into the text goes into detail about how they are the kings of this world, really, aren't they?
Yeah, and they've got a really interesting backstory that our team created. Elsa, Ben and myself, we came up with this idea of how they came to be and how they're intricately involved and codependent on and with Lillithea as well. So really great little background story here, which you can read on this double page spread while enjoying the art. The other thing to say as well is all this beautiful side art and the look of the book is completely down to Anne as well. So you've got a real lot of amazing detail here, and this book will be a joy. Nightfall always try and make their books really beautiful, but with Anne's involvement, it's been taken to the next level. So really good stuff. And again, here's some more of Anne's art that some of you will have seen before. but what you can see here is that they've been integrated completely into the book itself. So this tells that these are art pieces that represent various parts of the world, and they were the inspiration for the art for the world that's been created. So again, completely yin and yang on how things are created. Some things are created from the written word, and then that results in artwork, and then in this case the complete opposite. So
yeah,
it's amazing. And you can see more here.
Yeah, Moon Witch, she goes in there with the idea of the moon magic, doesn't she? And the reincarnation of characters.
That's it. And that's quite a big part of this world, is that nothing really dies. It gets reborn, a bit like some religious concepts as well, where somebody dies, they come back as something else. The game itself is much more about mutualism and working together than it is maybe so much about fighting and all that. That said, there is all that in there as well. It's just a slight shift towards what some other people may be more interested in. And as I say, lots of lovely art as we go along. Here's an example of some more. You'll recognize these characters from the front cover art, and obviously they've been represented so that they can fit around or fit within the descriptions of the characters that you can play in the game. So if you like any of these characters, you can play them.
Yeah, that was this is now, I work digitally, and so one of the benefits of this is for example, I will end up with the cover painting on various different layers. So all these characters could be moved about independently of the background, and I made this additional layout here without the backgrounds, which I thought kind of worked on the page rather than just put them in little boxes.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And again, we did look at that, didn't we? We looked at sort of putting them in boxes.
Yeah, went through various ideas, didn't we, of how we lay it out. Yeah.
And this one turned out to be by far the best and the best utilization, and then it gave us some fun. So if you look around by the owl, you can see that the text is sort of fitted around his wing. We had to do some jiggery pokery to get the jewel between the two lines as well.
Oh, so very clever.
you created some work as well. So it's great. So some more you can see. This tells you about how to play the game. Obviously we get to see more beautiful art, but these are important pages. So what we've also done is, you can see here there's a number of boxes that are sort of like in a beige color, and it says a word from Celesta. So we were very conscious that there was a lot of people that maybe have never played role-playing games before, and this would be quite a daunting thing to do. So we've sort of created this character called Celesta who helps you through the role-playing and the concepts and such like. So if you're new to it, read those books, those boxes, and they'll give you some help along the way as well.
That's a very good idea. I mean, it adds extra flavor text for people who do know what they've have played before, but it's very helpful, I think.
Yeah, one would hope so. Yeah, I mean, it really was a case of us trying to make this as sort of easy for everybody to get into. You're still going to have to read a fair bit. You're still going to have to get some concepts, but this is a real good start point, and hence QuickStart as a title. So again, more beautiful art here. I'll just, even though I shouldn't do, I'm just going to quickly zoom through these.
Absolutely. We'll just flick through this quickly.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this art here is probably one of the reasons why this game has happened. So this was the art piece. We have a shop local to us in Leamington Spa called Planet Bong. And you can probably guess what else it sells as its name, but so lots of joss sticks and such like. But my daughters loved going here, and Elsa picked up this piece of artwork long before we knew who Anne was, and she just loves it, and it's so representative of her feeling about animals, if that makes sense.
Oh, well, that's very nice to hear that. Yes, well, it's called Safe Haven, that picture, and we put it here next to the healing section because I thought that the maiden is taking care of the little dragon. And then
talk of the devil, as they say, but maybe not the devil in this case. So here's Celesta, the one that I just mentioned, who tells you how to play. And this young lady is modelled on young Elsa, who is one of the co-writers and the real reason why this game came to be. And yes, you drew this. If you want to have a little word about what you did and how it came about, because it's just wonderful.
Yes, well, I felt we definitely needed a portrait in here, and very good of Elsa to go along with that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Mark took a number of reference photographs, because obviously this has to look like a real person, and sent them to me. And Elsa was holding Labrador puppies in them.
She was. We were friends,
and they're all puppy pictured. Now, I love puppies, so there's not a problem. I'm thinking, he sent me Labrador. Anyway, then of course she's holding them. And there were a load, which you did very well. I mean, you took, I don't know how many, a lot of pictures.
A lot, yes.
And I went through them all, and some of them were very fun, and some of this, but I just thought this one, she was just looking, really very cool, composed, in command of the situation. And it was really quite interesting how she was holding an actual dog.
Yes.
And with a mace. So that was the reference. And then, of course, I obviously just made up the armor and the dragon in the background. But
yeah. And what people will see is she's called a Holly King Paladin, and you can see from the color palette that Anne's used, it's green, and so it's basically the colors of holly. And there will be in the book, hopefully, examples of the Oak King Paladins as well. And they are going to be two sort of forces within the world of Lillithea, but they're not opposed forces. They both just have different jobs. So maybe think of them a bit like fire department or fire guys and police officers. They've got different jobs, but they can be aligned. But they're aligned to their kings, and their kings are the brothers that are the sort of beneficiaries of the whole world. So
yeah.
I can't wait to see them as well.
It's a great concept, and I love the sort of natural nature of cycles and stuff that you've incorporated in this world. And yes, I'm really looking forward to painting lots more character portraits for the full rule book will be coming out.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. And I've just noticed, Dan, that you've incorporated a holly leaf in the top of the mace, top of the weapon. That's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So all the motifs on her armor are like kind of like holly leaves.
Yeah,
and there's a holly leaf on the mace and on her shirt. Thinking.
It's perfect. And the other great thing as well is you created that crown or whatever the right term is, tiara for her. And that, again, here's a really good example of where the artwork inspires the game rather than the other way around. So the game inspired the artwork, but then the artwork has then inspired the game, because we now have this sort of tiara thing going on, which will be a magical item in the game, created by Ben Graybeaton, who's the rules guy behind the whole thing. So
no, well, that's great, and I'll do a little illustration for that. Especially, I think the thing is, I just wanted to make it a little more fantasy.
Yeah, it's
put
perfect.
an interesting thing on her head, and I didn't want a full helmet, or we're not going to see her face properly. And the whole point is it's a portrait.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That kind of halfway thing.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely perfect. So yes, we better go on. So here's the character sheet. So again, they're side on, so turn your head, that people that are listening and watching. But basically, this gives you everything you need to play. So like, if you imagine it, it's basically the biography of your character. So you can see on the left here, it's the unicorn called Timotei, and on the right, it's the owl called Athena. And basically, it gives you all you need. So it tells you all of their statistics, whether they're strong, whether they're dexterous, whether they've got a good constitution, for example, what weapons they've got, what magic they can do, what equipment they've got as well. So lots of cool things going on there. And then obviously,
it's useful to have ready-made characters.
Yeah,
you can pick your own character up. There is at the end of the book a blank sheet, but this is, if you just want to go straight for it, these are
that's it.
Ready-made for you. Yes,
that's it. So this is part of being a quick start, is to get it to you quickly, so you can you can play straight away without getting too in depth. I mean, the character creation bit is something that a lot of people really enjoy. So there's the ability to do that, especially with the main rules as well. So it's great. And then we move on to the magic, which is another key thing here, which each of the characters have the ability to do spells. And Ben's done a lot of work on creating, changing the spells in D&D so that they're more in keeping, A, with the concepts, but B, also to make them easier to use as well. So you'll see that, for those of you that know Dungeons and Dragons already, that there's very much familiarity, but there's also changes as well. So hopefully people will find that quite exciting and quite brilliant as well. So we're looking forward to people's feedback on that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, I enjoyed reading the spells. I do play Dungeons and Dragons myself every Tuesday.
You do? Yes.
So unfortunately, I do kind of know what you're talking about here.
Which is great, because that also meant that you were able to find pieces of art that represented these things, like the one here, for example. And
yeah, in this section, yes, it's mainly using artworks that I've painted for other subjects that we felt like the firebolt spell ties in lady holding the fire. But I'm sure when we do the full rules, I can do some extra illustrations for some of these other ones too. That would be really fun. I mean, spell casting is a great subject, isn't it?
It really is.
Weird things.
Yeah, it's great. And I have to say, this piece of art here, the one of the lady on the bear, is probably my favorite that I know of yours. It's just so cool, and it also will open up a whole new other realm within Lillithea for us, with the Barbaria area where this lady could well come from.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one. The berries here on the left hand side, the mistletoe, they caused me quite a few problems as well, because as you can see, all of that text fitting around there.
Very well,
it was fun. But yeah, so you can see lots more spells going on here. And loads more examples of your art as well, which is great.
Tied in, like this one tied in quite nicely with Shield of Faith.
Yeah,
and again, that could work as a layout across the bottom. Oh yes, and here we go. No, sorry, carry on. That's there's Power of 3, but this is Speak with Animals was a spell that you can kind of imagine she's cast there. And
yeah, exactly. And the joy of this is that this is why I was so keen to get to work with you on this, Anne, because this just means that we can use your art and tell another story. I know you've worked previously with a gentleman whose name is it Derek? I forget now. So who you and him sort of redid your art, and well, you did your art and then he told a different story to what was originally planned, and in a way we're sort of doing this a little bit here as well, I think.
No, yeah, Derek is a legend, and turns my posthumous comments about the alternative things that could be going on in the picture, which are very funny.
Yes, and he just did that with the Celesta piece as well, didn't he? So
I'm sorry. I hope she wasn't offended. I thought it was very funny.
It's great. It's absolutely brilliant. So and this is another cool thing. So obviously we had this very last spell, and then you've managed to fit a wonderful art piece that is representative of the spell around it, and it all in keeping. This teared effect is great.
Well, we had a number of backs and forwards and video calls and stuff, didn't we, Mark? Because we're trying to make the art fit the text and text fit the art, and you move one thing and then everything else moves. And anyway, we got there.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. And then so that's the end of the spell chapter, and then we move to the adventure that comes in this quick start. So this is something that we like to do, is give people an adventure to play, or a mission, or whatever you want to call it. And this is it here. So this is the adventure. For role playing, it would probably on average take 2 to 4 hours to play this game, but it could be eked out a lot longer, or it could play a lot shorter. So that's that. And then obviously we see new art here again as a result of that. So we've got your lovely coins that we're hopefully going to make into real things down in the bottom right corner.
Yeah, I love coins, and dragons love coins.
They do indeed. So it's perfect.
We've designed a whole a set of 3, haven't we, different coins, and that's fun. And there's our little dragon friend.
Yes.
Who is the baby dragon? Well, look, we won't give too much away about the.
No, I'm thinking we should probably hold off sharing the last few pages.
Wanting to play it, I think we better not tell them too much.
That's true. So I think actually that is a good place to stop. And I think that's a good place to stop. So
absolutely. Well, there is more additional specially made art to fit that adventure, and yes, you'll have to download it and see for yourself.
You don't even have to spend money. You can just download it for free. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And then we hope you love it as much as we do. And watch this space for next exciting installment.
Definitely.